Hello, this final video is going to be my feedback on the source-based discussion about about the law code of Hammurabi. This is the first known written law code that we have. There were clearly laws before Hammurabi's day. There may even have been written laws, but this is the earliest written example of a law code. The first question I asked was about how it tells us about social and gender inequality. Sources can often tell us what they intend to put across as information, the actual laws themselves, but they unwittingly give us testimony about the nature of that society. So we see, for example, there was slavery. When you wound a slave or kill a slave, you pay compensation to the slave's owner, not to the slave himself. We also see how people are treated differently depending upon their status. If you kill or wound, it says simply a man, by default that means an aristocrat, a nobleman. Or if you do it to a free man, meaning the middle classes, or a slave, your punishment is different. We see the same thing going on with women. Women are treated as if they were property of men. If you kill or wound a woman and cause a miscarriage, you're paying compensation to the husband or the father because you've damaged or killed his property. So, for example, if a woman dies, the man's daughter is killed, not the man himself, because the man's daughter is his property. He's lost his property, and to make up for that, he gets to remove your property, i.e. your daughter as well. So very gender unequal, very class unequal society. The second question was about what it tells us about the nature of justice for the Babylonians. It's very direct. The expression an eye for an eye, which appears in the Old Testament, we also see that same idea in a literal sense in Hammurabi's law. The Mesopotamian societies and the ancestors of the Jewish people shared many common aspects. They grew up in the same region, they were ethnically related. So clearly the law of the Old Testament is influenced by Hammurabi's law, or maybe they share a common ancestor. It's very direct, and also it's about value. Crimes are not punished because they're a crime against the public good or against the state or even against the king. They are a crime against a person, and it is punished by that person or that person's family being able to do the same thing back to you. There's no mention of prison, no mention of execution because you've wronged the king or because you've wronged society, but rather execution because you've killed somebody, even if it's only accidentally because you built a shoddy house, and you get killed in return. Again, direct punishment. The third question was about the stelae. I'm going to use my high-tech visuals here. Here we go. This is the image on the left. You can't see it very well, but at the top, Hammurabi and the god Shamash are next to one another. Shamash is on the right, handing Hammurabi authority. On the left is Hammurabi, and he is acknowledging the god and receiving authority from the god. The little stick, you can't see it very well, but a symbol of authority is handed to him by the god. This is a very simple idea of political power. It comes from the gods. And this idea that the king is the king because God made him, or the gods made him so, runs through history for thousands of years, right up to the early modern period when it's challenged by things like the French Revolution.